Hi guys, welcome back to Jungle Flowers Canada. My name is Grania and thanks for joining me. So we have a little bit of a different setting here today guys. We're in my kitchen and the reason being, first of all, I'm going to show you my most recent import, and secondly we're going to be potting up some plants. So I've had some plants in pon in my IKEA greenhouses and I've just been using these small little pots here. And I've had them sitting in the toothbrush holders, which are absolutely brilliant. I love them. But I have decided to make a little change. Just because some of them have outgrown these pots, not all of them, but I decided I would do them all together. So let's start the video. I did a recent import from Indonesia and it was from Sandy Seption, I believe is his surname. And he was recommended to me by another Hoya Facebook group, and I did import from him before. Now I need to actually find that on my head. I was going to say I need to find my glasses because I won't be able to see. This was a little bit of a challenge, unfortunately. So I ordered two Hoyas. I ordered an undulata and I believe it's called a buntock. If I have that wrong, I'll put it on the screen. And unfortunately I didn't get either of them. Some of the plants, I also actually had three friends in on this order with me, and some of the plants were great, we were very happy with, some were not so great. So this is one of the downsides of importing. So I'm going to show you what I received, and I will tell you what I actually ordered. So let's get rid of this big baby here first. So this here is a Substitution variegated, which I haven't really heard much of, but when I saw it I thought, oh wow, you know what, I need to try this one out. Now I need to come close to you to show you the leaf because it's kind of hard to see the variegation. Let me stand this way and see. Can you see some of the variegation? You can kind of see it. This leaf may have been more evident, but unfortunately it is a little worse for wear. So I just thought, you know what, I'd never seen it before. I wanted to give it a try, and there is some variegation around here. So I hope the camera picks that up. So I am excited to see how this one turns out. Now I have potted it up in soil. I don't know if you can see, there is just a new growth starting here actually, which you probably saw when I was closer to the camera. So I have it under my grow tent in the basement rehabbing. So I'm hoping that that's going to give me some really interesting leaves. So this was the first plant I ordered. The second plant I ordered was actually a Syngonium starlight, which again I didn't get, but I did get a beautiful Syngonium. I got this Syngonium T25, I think I got. My friend got a T24. Now if I got that backwards, I will put it on the screen. So can you see it there? It is really beautiful. So I'm very happy with this. I have transplanted it into pon and I have it under my grow tent also. Is this focusing on me or is it focusing on the plant? Let me see. If I kind of stand like this, can you see it there? It is very beautiful, isn't it? So my friend bought the, I believe, T24. I got the T25. As I say, it could be vice versa. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to exchange cuttings. Hers is very beautiful. Hers is more green on green variegation, but they are pretty gorgeous, right? So Syngoniums normally are very prolific growers, so I have great hopes for this plant. Now, this is kind of where the disappointment begins. So this here is a Scindapsus tricolor. And you can see I actually kept the worst one. The others were not as bad as this, but you can see that there is some new growth coming there. None of them were great, I have to say, but being the one that organized the import, and also, you know what, it doesn't bother me. I'm used to getting plants in bad condition, so I decided I would keep this one, but I am pretty confident that it's going to come back. Now, I will put a photo on the screen of what a tricolour looks like. It is gorgeous. Now, first of all, when I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's very like an Argerius. But I did do a comparison picture against my Argerius, and it actually is quite different. The thing about Syngonium is some of them are very, very similar, and it's quite hard to tell them apart. But I guess to the educated eye, which I can't say mine is the most educated eye, you know, there definitely is a difference. So anyway, that is the Syngonium tricolour. And lastly, this was unfortunately the disappointment, and it looks like a pretty hot mess here. So as I say, I ordered I ordered the undulata and the buntock, and what I got was, okay, so they said that this was a Sarawak, but my friends think it's a glabra, yes, a Hoya glabra. And there were actually 2 stems, so I gave one to my friend Tatum because it was on her wish list, and I thought, you know what, it was quite a big stem, and I actually cut it. Now, I hope I didn't make a boo-boo of this one, but what I did was there was actually an aerial root. Can you see? There was an aerial root here, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to cut it, and hopefully I will be able to get 2 stems from it. Let's just push her back down there. The other one, afterwards I kind of regretted it because I'm not sure if I have made, as I say, a boo-boo, but this is the bottom half of the stem, and I hope it's going to push out a grow point. There are some like kind of nodes here, so let's hope I didn't screw that one up. Now the next plant, I know this looks like a really hot mess, but it is, oh, I just lost a leaf. It is actually a beautiful plant. And I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's spelled S-P-T-C-E-H. I don't know how you pronounce that. That's a difficult one. And I looked it up, and it is quite a sought after plant. But you can see this is like really in rough shape. So my friend Paula had ordered a clemensorium, which didn't come. So they had sent 2 of these. So I gave her 1 of these, and I had 3 clemensoriums. So I gave her 1 of my clemensorium, and she gave me some beautiful plants she brought with her, actually, which she came to pick up. So we did an exchange. So that is what I received from Indonesia. You can see it does have a beautiful leaf. Now you can probably tell I did cut this one up as well. So again, where am I? There was an aerial root there, so I cut that at the aerial root. There was this leaf with, just see that little growth point there, and then there was a 3rd piece. Was that the 3rd piece? Yeah, I think that's the 3rd piece. Is that the same piece? I don't know what I'm doing here. So there's that piece, and oh yeah, this piece here. So I also cut this piece. So I took 3 cuttings of it, and I am actually going to put them into pon tonight. So we know that importing carries its risks, and this is a perfect example. I wrote to Sandy, and you know, I was like annoyed again because I thought I ordered the gun and gadding last time. I didn't get the gun and gadding. He wrote back and he said that he's hired guys and he did send lots of plants and he doesn't know why I didn't get the right plants, blah blah blah. Of course, language is also a barrier. So I just said, you know what, it's fine, but we shouldn't acquiesce so quickly, I think. You know, I am a little upset about this, and let's see if he reaches out to me and tries to correct this in some way. So anyway, let's put it down to experience. I mean, it wasn't a cheap import. So I think it was like $450 for the plants. Now we spread it, obviously it wasn't all my cost. 120 for the shipping, and 48 for the import duties. Now he didn't charge me for the phytosanitary, which was very gracious of him, but still, that's a lot of money. So between 4 of us, and one girl only bought 1 plant, we spent well over $500, close to $600. So it is disappointing. I'm not going to say it's not, but anyway, it is what it is. We're going to get on with it, and now I'm going to show you some of the plants that I'm going to be transferring into larger pots. I'm sorry I didn't do this last night because I actually combined some plants that I had put in my homemade pon and all I can say to you is, wow, you should have seen the roots on these. They were incredible, and they're not in there that long. And Hoyas take a long time to root. I've had Hoyas that have just taken forever to root, and I've put them in the pond and they have just taken off. So I got an order from Amazon, and I don't know where I put the box. Let's open this. Love Amazon, don't you? I ordered these at like 5 a.m. this morning because I couldn't sleep. And they came today. Same day delivery. Oh my god, it's like incredible. So these were very good value. I have these already in my IKEA greenhouse, and I love them. They're self-watering pots. They're perfect for pond, guys. Absolutely perfect for pond. So I will put a link in the description if you're looking for them. They weren't pricey. I think it was under $20 for 7 of them. So I know you've seen these before. I'm not the only person in the world that uses them. They're very popular. And I also ordered the hooks from Amazon. I've got my puppy pad here. These are great to help you not make so much of a mess. Now I will be doing some soil transplanting as well. So so these guys are already done. So let's move them over to my table. Actually, I'll put them in this box. This is very different background for you guys. I don't normally record in my kitchen. So let's take a look. Okay, so what I think I'll do is I'm actually going to zoom in, guys. You don't really need to see me. You don't more need to see what I'm doing. So these are the pots, and they are probably 4-inch, I would think, 4-inch pots. So this is the basket. And then this is the this is the outer. Now I'm thinking I may eventually spray these grey. If you did watch my IKEA fabric course setup, you'll know I sprayed all the IKEA hanging baskets, etc. grey, and I may do that with these, but for now I just want to get them potted up. So I have in the past used mesh in this, but I'm actually just being lazy. I don't have any available. Might actually be some in the bottom of the pots that I can stick in. So we're going to stick the wicks in. I hope we're able to see what I'm doing there. Okay, so there are the wicks. And let's start with this. Look at the roots coming out of the bottom. So this is a patella, I believe. Yes, so this is a patella. She has a new leaf, which is fuzzy. So let's unpot it. Let's move you out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to try and get these roots back out through here without damaging them. And look at this, guys. So this is basically what I was dealing with last night on all of the Hoyas. And I don't have these, I have them a couple of months, but not that long. And look at the roots. They are amazing. So let's pot this into the bigger pot. And so having these in the little IKEA toothbrush holders, I had to kind of MacGyver the bottoms, stick some plastic on and use a lot of hot glue. But because I'm pulling them in and out, it tends to loosen the suction. And I have had 1 or 2 accidents where they have fallen off of the glass. If you're just using soil, it isn't as big a deal, but because I'm constantly pulling these in and out to check for water, they fell down and they did damage one of my plants underneath. So I decided I'm going to go for this and use the hook, and it's just a little bit more secure. But the toothbrush holders are perfect for small cuttings. Perfect. I've just decided to make a little change. Now I should have gloves, but I don't know where they are, so let's just put... Where's my Taniba? Okay, I just took this off of one of my plants, my Taniba, and I don't know. Oh, that's actually still in the... I think that's actually still in the greenhouse, so we won't worry too much about that. Okay, so again, this is my homemade pond, guys. I will put a link in the description for the recipe for this. I did find a very cheap alternative to pumice, and you can see the roots are perfectly happy, and it's working wonderfully for me. I do use liquid dirt for watering, as homemade pond does not have the built-in look at what I'm doing, I'm talking and not paying attention. I should be turning it this way so that it can trail. So if you want to check it out, you can see it is most definitely working. So I saw on orchid sites that diatomaceous stone is a good substitution for pumice. So I put my inspector hat on and I actually found some. So if you want to check that video out to see where I got it, as I say, the link will be in the description. Okay, so now I have her planted up in her little self-watering pot. We will put her in here. We will stick a hook inside the IKEA cabinet, which I am loving. If you've seen the video where I pimped out my IKEA cabinet and made it look like a jungle, give it a jungle vibe, this is the cabinet this is going into. So I'll also put a link in the description for that. They look absolutely amazing. So there we are, plant number 1. Homemade pond, guys. Proof in the pudding, it works. Okay, the others the roots are not coming out the bottom, but you can see I made self-watering pots out of these and put them in my IKEA toothbrush holders, but now I just want to transition them. Nothing wrong with them, they're doing great, but I just want a bit of uniformity in the cabinet. So let's see how this is doing. Okay, so we know some Hoyas take forever to root, and this obviously is one of them. But you can see that it is starting to root, which is brilliant. I've had these for a long time, and this is a perfect example of how Hoyas need time. So this is, let's see which one this is. This is the CV Viola, I think, yeah. So this is the CV Viola. So let's take off the label. Let's put it on one of my pots. I think I'm going to actually buy more of these. I think it came with 7, but I will actually get some more because I am really loving these pots. The pond is wet because some of it I'm actually reusing from other plants. So it's damp, but I will still put some obviously water in the reservoir. So because this isn't very well rooted, we're just going to sit it, close to the top there, and then we're going to fill it in with the pond. As I say, I should have gloves on, guys, but I'm too lazy to go look for them right now. Okay, so I actually just went today and bought another bag of lava grip, which is the lava rock obviously, from Home Hardware, and I also went to Canadian Tire and bought the, I think it's called Quali something, the one that, the diatomaceous stone that substitutes the pumice. So there we have our CV Viola. Let's pop her in there. Now I unfortunately broke a leaf off of this, and I know you don't get anything from a leaf, but I'm still going to just leave it in the pond and see what happens, because God loves an optimist, right? So this here is the verticulata. Now I have had this, gosh, probably a good 8 months, and it's very slow to root, very, very slow to root, but it hasn't died, and I never give up on them, obviously. So let's take a look and see what's going on here. So not the greatest root system on that. You can see there aren't really even any new roots yet. So they look like they're still the same roots that it came with all those months ago. But it's not dead, lovely and firm, actually starting to sun stress. So I think it will take off in due course, and to see what happens. Like you can see, she's been here for a long time, and she certainly is not dead, nowhere near dead. So let's just give her time. And time we have plenty of, right? Especially with our plant babies. And just for the sake of it, I stuck this in here a while ago and it's still alive. So just for the sake of it, let's stick the other leaf in. Let's see what happens. Okay, and this is the verticulata. So she is going in here. This here is, I know what this one is. This is the Memoria. Now I saw a mealybug on her and I absolutely freaked out, but I did get rid of it, thankfully. I haven't had mealybugs in a long time, but late this summer, I did get a couple of attacks of mealybugs. So I guess never rest on your laurels, guys. Always be prepared for the for all outcomes, because I was quite shocked. Okay, so she has taken off nicely. You can see her roots there. Not huge, but they're certainly healthy, and she is happily growing. So now we will do the same with her. And let's fill her up. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll do a little bit better in these pots, fingers crossed. So this is the Rosita. Now I do have a big Rosita inside, and I'm wondering, should I add this to my other Rosita? You know what, she's sun stressing so beautifully. I think I'm going to leave her in that IKEA cabinet, so I think I will put her into her own pot. So there we have our, I didn't stick the price, or the price, there's our Rosita. Okay, so let's take a look at the new babies. So when I get new plants, what I usually do is I put them in these pots and I make holes in the sides here so the water can drain through. Okay, so let's put this cutting in here. And another thing I have been finding, so I've been starting them off downstairs under my grow tents and some of them in prop boxes. But I find then after a while, as soon as I bring them up to my IKEA greenhouses, that's when I really start to see the roots popping. So I don't know if it's a combination of doing both, or if I just put them straight into my IKEA greenhouse, would they actually do better. But I might try that with some of these, put some straight in and some down under the prop box, and do a comparison. So there is the ASA, SP ASA, we're going to call it. I have to actually go get a couple more of these. Okay, so let's stick you in there. I have a white permanent marker that I write the names on them when I remember. Don't always do it, and sometimes I really struggle with the names. But I need to go down and get a couple more of these plastic pots. Actually, I have one more here. I have a cutting here for a friend. So I do have smaller little pots, and you can see she's rooting. It's an elliptica, and she was to come by last week to pick it up. But I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but my beautiful Leroy, my miniature schnauzer, passed away suddenly on Saturday, and I was absolutely devastated, guys. I cried for 5 solid hours. He was my little man. I just adored him, and I brought him from Ireland, and I cannot believe that I lost him. So it was a very, very sad weekend for me. Okay, so I must have done a little more chopping than I thought on this, because look, I have 3 more. So you know what, let's pop the 3 of these into one and see what happens. Actually, you know what, let's unpop this and let's put 2 and 2. How about that? Okay, so let's put you in there. Oops, I just dropped the leaf on that one. You can see, look at the roots, like they will have to come back, but that's why I cut them up so much, because there was aerial roots growing out of all different parts of the plant. So let's stick that down there and let's fill that up. Now I will be, and these take off. So I had the most beautiful weekend, guys. I adore my plant friends. So 2 of my plant friends that did this order with me came over, and we had tea and scones. I love to bake. Again, I'll remind you, I have another channel called Granny's Home and Kitchen where I do a lot of baking. So I made them my famous signature scones, which kind of everybody knows me for. We had a lovely tea and scones and chat, and we talked about it, and we just said, you know what, we're going to work with each other now, and we're going to start just trading, because we all have built up a collection. We all have something that somebody else wants. So instead of spending money, we're going to try, you know, where we can, to trade with each other, which I think is a fantastic idea. And so we did a bit of trading on the weekend, and I did promise Tatum that as soon as these root, I will give her a cutting of one of these as well, so she can add them to her collection. Now I need to go down and get one more cup for the glabra. So remember the glabra. Let's hope that I didn't screw this one up, but like there is, you can see kind of a growth point there. So I'm hoping that this will be okay, and throw out another leaf. So let me go get a cup and I will be back. Okay, this is the last one, so I'll get in the screen so you know that I really am here. Okay, so I am going to get my soldering iron. You've probably seen me do it before. I'm going to put some holes here, but I can do that after I have potted it up. I'll just be careful not to go in too far so as to hit those roots. Okay, so, okay. You know what, I'm going to just sit it like this because it's quite long. And then you can see that aerial root. I'm just going to kind of bend that around. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's bend that aerial root around. There we go. And parents have different ways of doing this. I know Amy likes to cut off those old roots. I actually don't bother. So it's totally a personal choice, guys. They will eventually rot away anyway when the new water roots come. So it does. I really don't think it makes any difference. I just personally don't cut mine off. So, but if you do, that's not to say you're doing right or wrong. I always say none of us are botanists. We're all here on a journey. None of us are experts, believe me. And we just do what works for us, right? Okay. So there is the glabra, which was identified as a Sarawak. So, you know, if you have your opinion on it, feel free to give me that opinion. I'm always open to advice. So there we have the last, the Sarawak, and it's all ready now to go under the grow tent. And hopefully we'll get some nice roots on them soon. Alright guys, I do actually have some other plants to pot up, but I think this video is probably more than long enough. So I'll just quickly tell you, I'm going to put my two elliptica together and I'm going to put them in my window of my dining room. I did have my Australis in there, but I thought that's prime real estate. Let's put something a little more interesting in there. So I am going to pot these up in this 6-inch pot and I'm going to put them in my window. And I think actually that's everything for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you watched till the end, don't forget to put that green heart emoji in the comments. If you have any questions or comments or advice for me, please go ahead and leave it in the comments below. And you take care and have a wonderful day.